So far, it's been really good. I wasn't expecting anything bad about the tour to begin with, but it's been going really great.
Okay.
It's been awesome to see how big Insomnium has been growing through the years, because I think this is 7th or 8th sold out show already.
Oh.
So they are doing really well, and it's a really good package overall. It's been really good. It's been like, of course, we would have wanted to play as a second band, but this was the tour that was offered to us.
Okay.
So we're not complaining. It's a really good tour for us anyway. And thing is, like, there's quite a huge difference when you compare the audience in Finland and the audience in Europe. In Finland, it would never happen. Nobody comes to bar like 7:30 or 8. They come 11 o'clock when they are drunk enough. After drinking at home, they will come and see the headliner.
Okay.
But in Europe, it's a completely different thing. If you run to us, in every venue, there has been a huge crowd already. They've been responding really well. So I don't think it would be any difference to us would it be playing as a first or second when it comes to the audience and crowd. So only thing of course, when you're only playing 30 minutes, it's only 6 songs. When you after 5 songs, you are only getting warm up, and then you have 1 song left. Like. Yes, but we are doing a tour in Europe only like in next fall. We are doing this smaller trips to Spain and Portugal. Then we have Sweden and Norway with Insomnium. We do some shows in Finland. Then there's a summer festival season, and then September, October, November at that time we're going to do a bigger tour in Europe and be able to play the songs of the new album a little bit more, because of course now the time is limited, only 30 minutes, but also the album is not out yet. It was supposed to be in January, but I didn't want to rush the making of the album just because there's a tour coming, because the lifespan of the album is going to be longer than just the release time. So They are allowed to participate as much as they want. We did 1 song together with our solo guitar player and the bass player. Our bass player Lauri he's originally guitar player, so he has a lot of ideas. But it was a little bit complicated schedules for everybody. Mika is a really good songwriter. He's been doing a lot of songs for Eternal Tears of Sorrow, where he plays, and he has his own band, but he had a family. Growing up, there was a son in process, and when you have that kind of thing and you are busy at job, so he didn't have that much time this time, which doesn't mean that he wouldn't have a bigger input on the 4th album in the future. On this album is if you count out that 1 song, it was all written by me, because there was no time for the other guys to step in. The whole project for me was to just get the album done as a solo, but then again I already knew that I really want to have live shows I wanted to be able to play live shows, so I had the lineup already together before the album was released. It's just they were not in the studio, and we only changed 1 member since that. So the drummer and the guitar player has been with me since before the release of the debut album. We played first shows already a few weeks after the release of the album. So, but the album was a solo thing, but it wasn't meant to be a solo. I don't actually know how other people compose music. I don't talk that much the other songwriters, but I always have this one like a kind of like still image. Is a still image or just like is something like small part of a movie kind of thing, which is quite often connected to like the places in nature which I know already or been. And on this album, quite many places are like images from my home village where I moved out when I was 15. It's this really small place in the east border of Russia. It's 20 kilometers from the border line, but it's really cool and beautiful place. And I always have this one kind of picture, not like realistic always, but you know, this like a movie poster would be the best. It's really hard to describe, but like a movie poster, and I kind of like write the song as a soundtrack for that image. So it's like I'm not that inspired by music in general when I write my music. And I don't listen to music much. I haven't had any stereo system in my house for past 8 years. I never listen to music at home. I don't spend much time at home also. It's just I go there to sleep, but it's only like in a car or at the gym. Otherwise I don't listen to music at all. Well, in gym it has to be. It's just like certain type of really aggressive stuff. It's either like a Whitechapel style of American deathcore, death metal, or Ananakra style, like super aggressive stuff. But it actually is basically those two bands. Quite many actually. We never been US. I've never been with any of my bands in US. That's getting really tricky nowadays. It's really expensive with the work permits and visas and flight tickets, and so. But that would be really cool. To have a tour in US at some point. Australia would be really cool. That's really far away, really expensive, tricky country because there's nothing inside the country. You would need to go around the coast, so distances are long. So there's actually quite many, too many. I think I was 8 years old. It wasn't that professional level. I only remember because a lot of people are in interviews asking about when did I start to play and did I take any lessons. I took guitar lessons for 2 months when I was like this tall. And I never understood during those 2 months, like, why are we learning this stuff? Why can't we just make our own stuff? It's much more fun. And after 2 months, it was like everybody had to play one part of the song that we learned in that time. And I was like, I have my own song, which of course is like I only knew 4 chords, and I had a different order for those chords that actually made kind of a song or so. But I already at that time I was like, what is the point? Why do we train Black Sabbath? Like, why can't we make our own songs? It's much more fun. Piano, bass doesn't count. Play bass as a guitar player plays the bass. Oh no, I only use it for songwriting. I don't actually play at all. Drums are actually only where I have to rehearse a little bit more intensively because it's so demanding physically to be able to play metal music. Just to have the stamina and the speed and stuff like that. But with other instruments I write stuff and then I learn the stuff I write, and that's my working process. And I'm not that much into being a musician, it's more like being into songwriting. And piano is a really cool tool because it's a completely different setup than a guitar. You can't use those same things you got any used with guitar. And I don't know music theory at all. I don't connect the guitar and the piano. I wouldn't be able just to start playing with piano, things I play with guitar, because I have no idea which note is which. I just go by an ear. I have the crappiest piano technique ever. I didn't even notice until the Santari from Amorphis told me. He saw one YouTube video where I was playing a grand piano in a studio. I didn't realize I don't use my thumb at all. Both thumbs are like this, because as a guitar player you don't use thumbs. You don't only go with the 4 fingers, so my thumbs are like pointing almost up. I think it's gonna continue in a way. Easiest thing is to explain the tempo things and stuff, because Jonas is like so much faster and technical drummer than I am, or I could ever be. When you compare Winterborn, Shadow World is a quite much faster song. It was because of Jonas, and since Jonas been rehearsing quite much after the Shadow World, so the new album can be even faster. So there's some songs that are a lot faster than we ever done, but at the same time there's really slow songs and doomy songs. So it's just like, as you see the step between the first album, how more varied the second is, this continues in a way even more. I really hate labeling music, like especially when it comes to labeling my own music, because like I wouldn't call us melodic death metal, it would be too narrow. I wouldn't want to say aloud that I want to use melodic black metal influences, because I'm not into that kind of, I'm completely religious free person. I wouldn't want to use the word black metal or melodic death metal, and we're using the doomy elements also, so it's easier to come up with your own style that doesn't really exist, but it of course exists now because I said that it will exist, and we are playing winter metal. So that gives, I can do anything behind that title. If somebody would point a gun at me and I would say some genre, then I would need to say it's melodic death metal. Would be the closest one, yeah. But since there's no gun in your hand, I will continue saying that we are playing winter metal. Not really happenings, but it's in a thought level. There's a connection. I would feel weird to write something, an experience. Of course, every thought and emotional thing is an experience, but not something like a real life incidents. But in a thought level and emotional level, there's a connection. Yes. It's always the music. I might have some, like a line or two in my head, just stuck in my head, and I will write lyrics based on those. That happens rarely, but I would never like finish the lyrics. It feels really weird for me to just write stuff on the paper if there's no music for the song. And I usually do the lyrics only in the studio. At least 90% of the lyrics. I want to hear the song as ready as possible when I start writing. And like I told you, I have this still image, movie poster, whatever we want to call it. And of course the lyrics are based on that also. So I know what I'm gonna write about on different songs. I just don't want to start writing until I can hear the atmosphere of the song, and then it comes really quickly. Sometimes it's like a few hours for one song that I do the lyrics and the vocals, because I usually work with the lyrics while I do the vocals still. So they need to be the music. I tried it a few times that I write lyrics if I have some idea, and then I try to fit the lyrics in a song. It doesn't fit the music anymore because it was done separately, and it feels really like naive. Everything sounds really crappy when you just write it. Okay. All the rhymes are clumsy and the words are really stupid and like it. But when you have the music and you know what you want to say, then that rule doesn't apply anymore. You can say quite a corny things, but if it's connected with the music, it works. I would never be able to write any like battle metal lyrics like we have in all of the albums. There's few songs mainly about Finnish wars. They look so teenage crap when you just write them down. But when you have the song and the mood and you have the picture in your head, you can write a lot more freely. It doesn't sound stupid because you are writing there's a purpose.